Good morning, my friends. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can be with you forever. I'm going to be leaving my email in the description, so if you want to contact me for anything at all, feel free to do so. And if you want me to cover a topic that I haven't had already, feel free to comment your suggestion in the comments below. So, today I'm going to be covering a topic that a mysterious stranger suggested to me on my last video, which is to discuss about the influencers, people online, people on social media, e-girls, e-boys, whoever, who exhibit the equality of I guess superficial happiness in their posts and what they promote in themselves, or not necessarily happiness, but they generally promote a lifestyle that isn't realistic. People who are just generally socialites in today's current world, especially on the internet, and how they are often the most depressive and kind of miserable people to be around. And it's kind of difficult to discuss this personally just because I don't particularly know a lot of these people or interact with these people at all, really, nor do those people have any inclination to interact with me. And I generally find that those kinds of people are often put off by my presence, usually just because of the fact that I often exhibit a genuine aspect of myself through social media, whether it's negative or positive. And it often turns people off, especially in the context of it being a little bit, out there, a little bit bizarre, and a lot of people are put off by that. And I've met people who have told me that personally, even people who are friends of mine who have straight up told me that they felt weird looking at my social media feed because it was so contrastingly different compared to the people that they normally follow on the internet, of whom post the typical social media influencer stuff, whether it's just pictures of themselves in luxurious locations or doing normal social things, or just what is conventionally considered normal or exalted in society, whether that involves going to dinner at a fancy restaurant in Dubai, or being in a jacuzzi, or posting generic aesthetics or art that sort of encapsulates a brand or a vibe or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of the times those people are essentially living false dichotomies of themselves, or trying to create a veneer of who they are as people. And this isn't necessarily the case for someone who's an influencer, because an influencer could easily just be doing that for the sake of their business. They don't even give a shit about what they post online. They just know whatever works in a monetary sense. So a lot of people are just business people at the end of the day, just posting stuff online to sort of encapsulate what they know other people like to see on social media, and they don't particularly care about how other people perceive them in real life. So at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to tell when it comes to influencers who make it their entire embodiment or their entire personality based around their social media and how they present themselves. How is that any different from socialites in real life, not just on social media, although the two often interlink with each other. But before social media, these people always existed, and they've always been the kinds of people who evoke a false sense of self in order to, bring themselves up in society in some way or another. Usually in high school, this is very prominent with popular kids. And, you'll find that most popular kids in high school who put on a big show or a big, image-based persona are very superficial, and they are often very lonely and disconnected, even though they're surrounded by other people. And this accounts for most social people, because they're not creating genuine connections with others. They're just trying to create this image for themselves, this superficial connectivity, and social media has definitely exacerbated this, where you have tons of people who can have millions of followers, but they are ultimately just living their day-to-day lives completely alone, completely detached, unable to form real connections with other people or even connections with themselves. They're often miserable on their own, and for those reasons being is that they're not genuine in the real world. So I don't think it has much to do with what is being presented on the internet versus what is being presented in your real life. And although you can look on social media and there's definitely things you could look out for in terms of, perceiving a person, ultimately what someone posts on social media can do it for a variety of different reasons, whether that's for financial reasons or whether they're actually deeply insecure with themselves and do not know how to be genuine either in real life or on the internet. Some people are very genuine in real life and they don't really know what to do on social media, so just post very generic stuff. And there's some people who are very self-expressive on social media, but you meet them in person and they're very shut off and closed off from people. And I think there's definitely room to develop skills in both realms of being genuine, both in real life and on social media. And I think in both of those worlds, there is a difference in terms of how you express yourself and what is constituted as genuine and what is amicable, I guess. And I think a lot of people who are genuinely good in real life often either are not present on social media or they have kind of, they're just not really present on social media, I find. And the people that are often very kind of chaotic on social media, you'll find that they're often very calm and collected in real life. And the people who are very meticulous online and sort of present themselves with an image of having everything together are often carrying a lot of demons, but it's also not necessarily the case. I don't know. I find that it's hard to judge people based off of social media specifically, and there's a lot of subtleties to look into when looking at someone's social media profile. And often, you can't really discern who they are based off of just what they post. It comes more down to the actual interactions they have with people. And at the end of the day, I think influencers are already living kind of a false dichotomy. If that's like their end goal in life is to be an influencer, then they generally have to acknowledge that what they are chasing after is completely fake anyway, which is the whole point of being an influencer. You're just promoting consumerism and promoting your body as a means to sell merchandise. And at that point, if you're going to go down that, you either have to have a very strong sense of self already and, security in who you are as a person to where that doesn't bother you to promote that stuff or to live that kind of lifestyle and to kind of just hold your own, which I think most people are in the minority in that regard. Or you're the kind of person that's incredibly vapid and vain and insecure and, will get challenged by other people who are living genuinely. And, the reality is that people who do live honestly and genuinely often will get, they'll just get hate from people, or people will just not like them or kind of cut them off or not really want to be a part of their lives, because most people are generally insecure anyway and want to gravitate towards people that provide an image of security. And this is usually in the form of following influencers who have, basically constructed that form of self online, basically down to a science, and use it to sell merchandise. So for people who buy into that kind of stuff, I personally don't really understand why people care about influencers or why people even follow influencers, unless it's like, I don't know, you're horny and a guy and you like, the way a girl looks because she looks hot and you jack off to pictures of them. that's the only reason I would see someone following an influencer. Other than that, it's like, I don't understand what the point is, especially in regards to a lot of women who follow these people, and also men who follow male influencers too. I don't follow, like, I'm into fitness, and I can respect, physique, so to speak, of an athletic guy. But, like, in general, their social media is just boring and not really it's just pictures of themselves in, like, nice places with, like, the most generic motivational quotes. So I don't get it for myself as a man. And then for women who do that, which I know several women who follow these influencers, and they'll tell me, oh my God, she's so beautiful. And it's like, okay. And, like, are you masturbating to those pictures? And if not, then it's like, who cares? Like, I'll look at a guy who has, like, a body or a physique that I might want to have working out, and it's like, okay, that's, like, that looks good, I guess. I would like to have that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't really care about following them. Like, why do I need to have them in my life? It's like, if I see a bodybuilder on the street, I'll be like, damn, like, he's got big arms, like, that's impressive. Even then, I don't really care about bodybuilding. It's more likely I'd see, like, an athlete who's actually capable of, physical feats of strength and endurance, and I'll see that, and I'll be like, wow, that's impressive. And if it's someone I respect, then I'll follow them in that regard, to, just because it's social media in that regard. But in terms of just following them to, like, weirdly be obsessed with how they look, I don't know, that's kind of weird, which is what most influencers are. They don't do anything. Like, I'll follow an athlete because they perform well, and I'll probably like them as a person also. There's several athletes that I just also don't care about. But then there's a lot of people who just follow influencers just because they look good, which isn't, like, admirable as a skill. It's just like, oh, this person looks good. Like, unless you're, like, addicted to porn or something, and that's the reason you're doing that, which makes more sense, even though I do not promote that kind of activity necessarily, because I don't think it's healthy. At least it makes sense, because it's, like, a primal instinct to, like, be attracted sexually to people. But, like, the fact that it's not sexual, it's just, like, this fascination and obsession, and then people like those pictures, like, as if, I don't know, it's like a weird form of idol worship for people that just don't have anything of value other than looking good. So I don't really care about the influencers necessarily who do this, because I don't know who they are. They could just be very normal people just trying to, make money on the internet, and whatever, that's fine. Whatever you do, so long as it's not, promoting vehement evil. It's the fact that the market for being an influencer even exists in the first place that I have a problem with, because it's like, what's the point? Like, why do you care? Why are you as a consumer consuming this and supporting these people? Like, what is the point of doing that? You don't get anything out of it. With porn, you at least get sexual satisfaction. Doing heroin, you at least get pleasure. I don't see what you get out of following influencers. So that's more of what I am, like, perplexed by and find more depressing than the actual influencer themselves. I'm more depressed by the people who actually consume this on social media and follow influencers and, like, compare themselves to influencers at the same time. Like, unless you're comparing yourself in a way where it's like, you're getting motivation, I guess. That makes sense. If you're an athlete, or you're a bodybuilder, or even if you're a model as a woman, I guess, you're looking for, like, makeup tips, even though, like, I find makeup repulsive. But for women who are interested in that, I guess that makes sense. But other than that, it's like, what do you, like, what's the point, And, I don't care about bodybuilders, or like unless I'm, like, sexually attracted to the women, and I get horny, I guess, then that would be a reason to look at their pages. But other than that, I don't see the appeal. And I see so many people who do that, and it's like, I just don't get it. So that's, in terms of this topic, that's more of what I'm against is the consumption of influencers rather than the influencers themselves being depressed. I find it's more depressive. It's more depressing seeing people consume this rather than me perceiving the influencers as being depressed. So that's all I have to say about that topic. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.